Medes, Persians, Hellenistic Seleucids, Parthians, and Sasanians all built venerable empires, each assimilating and building upon the technological, organizational, and cultural achievements of the former. The last three of these great empires rivaled the Roman Empire and waged bitter wars against it in a series of never-ending stalemates, resets, and standstills, over a period lasting more than 800 years. This ancient rival great empires rivaled the Roman Empire and waged bitter wars against it in a series of never-ending stalemates, resets, was absorbed into the Caliphate. The Dabuid dynasty, claiming to the Roman Empire, managed to survive in a diminished form, while nearly all of Persia was absorbed into the Caliphate. The Dabuid dynasty, claiming descent from the Sasanian Shahs, held out as an independent bastion for Iranian Zoroastrian faith for more than a century. They repulsed a major Umayyad invasion in 716 AD. The Umayyads had established their dynasty's leadership over the Muslim world after the first centuries of Islam, and 10 years later, in 760, they would conquer the Dabuid kingdom. The Caliphate's Iranian population played a pivotal role in the overthrow of the Umayyads, and the Abbasid period was marked by a reliance on Persian bureaucrats for governing the conquered territories. During this time, the majority of the Caliphate converted to Islam. Persianate customs were broadly adopted by their ruling elite, who became patrons of artists, scientists, and scholars throughout the empire. The 7th Abbasid Caliph, Al-Mamun, whose mother was Persian, commented, "The Persians ruled for 1,000 years, and did not need us Arabs even for a day. We have been ruling them for 2 centuries, and cannot do without them for an hour." Less than 30 years after his death, the warlord Yaqub al-Safar, a Persian coppersmith from a small town in what is now Afghanistan, rebelled against the Abbasids, conquering a large portion of their empire. He was a recent convert to Islam. He and his successors avidly promoted the Islamic faith alongside Persian language and culture throughout their short-lived but pivotal empire. Shortly after this, Safarid territory was cannibalized by 2 Iranian dynasties, the Daylamite Buyids and the Samanid Empire. Both revived the use of the Persian language in state use and revived Sasanian court customs, using the titles Shah and Shahanshah, King of Kings. Sasanian court customs, using the titles Shah and Shahanshah, King of Kings. The Buyids claimed descent from the Sasanian Shahanshah Bahram V, and for a short time were considered the leading power in the Islamic world. The Samanids spent great sums patronizing science and literature as the Buyids, and at its height it was said their capital of Bukhara rivaled Baghdad in its glory and scientific achievement, and they were overthrown by a family of Turkic slave guards, the Ghaznavids. These Turkic were wealthy. They began to employ slave armies of Turkic origin. This would be their own undoing, and they were overthrown by a family of Turkic slave guards, the Ghaznavids. These Turkic slave soldiers turned sultans, fully assimilated into Persian culture with such enthusiasm that they outdid their ethnically Iranian counterparts. The large libraries were built, and agents sent to purchase and catalog had converted to Islam, and an estimated military target, conquering Asia Minor and the Levant. Like the Ghaznavids before them, these nomads quickly became Persianized in culture, who acted as their own dynastic rivals, left them vulnerable. Their empire evolved by the Mongol Empire, the largest successor state, in the 1330s. Outbreaks of the Black Death ravaged the empire. Patchwork of states arose the Turco-Mongol warlord. He regarded himself as human skulls, shared in his vast, recently Persianized, wobbling factions, and the Shia Safavid Empire established itself in the aftermath of this collapse. It was led by Shahanshah Ismail I, who claimed direct descent from the Prophet Muhammad. Under the Safavids, the economy was fueled by stability, which allowed trade to thrive. Spiritual bastion of Shia Islam, Nader Shah, a brilliant military commander often compared to Napoleon and Alexander. Nation. Instead, patronage for painters was emphasized. They were overthrown by the Qajar dynasty of Turkic origin, and after a series of wars with the Russians and British empires in the 19th century, control of the Persian Gulf, our state adapted, fell under the influence. During World War I, Reza Khan, commander of the Persian Cossack Brigade, Europe's oil came from Britain. Frustrated, Mossadegh and Ajax, Fist, his secret, and not to impose any strain, Fist. His secret police rounded up thousands. He would be overthrown in 1979 by the Ayatollah Khomeini, initially promising to uphold democracy and not to impose any strict Islamic law. Immediately after, Iraq invaded Iran in 1980, in response to Iran's support of Shia dissidents. It is estimated that over 1 million casualties were inflicted over the course of this lengthy war. During the war, the clerical rule